Good morning. It's Tuesday, March 17th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today. I created this podcast to answer the question most asked by conservatives, namely, what can I do? My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to, and shorter podcasts force me to get to the point. I have been listening to conservative talk radio since 1989, and I grew up in a socialist household, and have seen the destructive effects of socialism up close and personal. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today, what can I do? Tweet of the day, prevention, and metaphysical law number 7. All that when I come back. Thank you. What can I do? Don't be a reactionary. True conservatives are not reactionaries. We do not plan our day around what other people do, particularly the left. We don't get up and scan the newspaper to find out what Nancy Pelosi had to say about President Trump. We mind our own business. We get up, take care of ourselves, our families, and our friends and neighbors. Next up, the tweet of the day. Thank you. The tweet of the day from nobody. There was nothing, not one single tweet that was worth reporting. Next up, no prevention, ever. Thank you. Anytime that you hear that the government at any level is trying to prevent something, crime, terrorism, disease, be advised that in order for any government to prevent something from occurring, it must necessarily violate the God-given constitutionally guaranteed rights of its citizens. For example, if the government plans to prevent crime, it must necessarily violate the right of freedom of association. If the government plans to prevent disease, it must also necessarily violate the right of freedom of association. If it is trying to prevent gun violence, it must necessarily violate the Second Amendment. The only question is which part of the Constitution is the government violating when it tries to prevent something. And this idea is important because it acts as a shortcut to evaluating politicians and policy. If a politician promotes a bill to prevent anything, he's wrong, and his efforts should be opposed. Next up, agency and consequence. Thank you very much. The metaphysical law number 7 is that everything has an agency and a consequence. The reason that this is worth mentioning is that the left promotes vacuums. Reality, knowledge, ethics, and aesthetics don't exist as far as they're concerned. This is wrong. Life is foundational. You can't have knowledge without having something to know. You can't have universal rights and wrongs without knowing what's true. You cannot create something of value without the right skills. And you cannot pursue happiness without creating things of value. Don't let the socialists lead you astray. Back in a minute. Thank you. Who is the true conservative? He is the person that understands that conservatism is not just about politics, but culture as well. He's not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He is patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He's open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he's better than the socialist. He is a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you're wasting your time. And that brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it.